Hello, it's Sunday, September 3rd of 2023, and today I'm here in New York City to explore Grand Central Terminal, and especially the new Grand Central Madison Long Island Railroad Concourse. Grand Central Madison is an extension to Grand Central Terminal, consisting of a new deep-level concourse and 8 new tracks for the Long Island Railroad, which provides regional and commuter services to points east of the city. Construction began on the concourse in 2008, and it was finally completed in January of 2023, after 15 years. Before this, all LIRR services into Manhattan terminated at the nearby Penn Station, but now about half continue to Penn, and the other half branch to Grand Central. With more capacity in Manhattan, service on the entire network was significantly increased by about 40%, benefiting the entire island. If you just want to see the new concourse, skip to the time step on screen now using the chapters in the description. But if you would rather a full tour, stay right here. You know, it's funny because I've been here so many times, but I've never truly appreciated the exterior of the station, like with this nice clock and these statues on top. Looks kind of like what you would see in a religious site. Anyway, I'm going to start my tour, I guess you could call it, by visiting the most famous part, which is the main Central Metro-North concourse. So here it is, the most visited, or one of the most visited tourist attractions in the world. We have the very famous clocks in the center, or I guess it's just one clock with 4 faces. We have the nice ceiling with the constellations. An American flag, I don't even remember if this was always here. And then we also have one of the most famous Apple stores. There's also an information booth with maps and timetables. Dot matrix display, departure board. It's not really dot matrix, it's a LED. And a ticket office. A staved ticket office, to be exact, which is quite rare nowadays. I still find it hilarious that you can be here with some of the best architecture in the world and then turn around and go through a door and end up here. The tracks. I feel like nobody really shows this part of the station. Everybody focuses on the nice, beautiful bits and the concourse, but like, this is actually where you board trains. So this is arguably maybe even more important than the concourse. But for some reason, American train stations put very little effort into platforms and all of the effort into concourses, which I don't necessarily agree with, but it's okay. Grand Central also has this sort of semi-secret passageway that connects a few blocks down all the way to 46th and 7th Streets. I don't actually want to walk the whole thing because that is a long walk. You can also walk this way behind the concourse to other platforms. Fun fact, Grand Central Terminal is the station with the most platforms out of any train station in the world. There are 43 tracks in use for regular passenger service, plus another 8 tracks underground for Grand Central Madison. So on the main level, we have tracks that have 2 digits, from maybe about 10 to 30, 40. And then on the level below us, there are the 100s, and then even deeper in Grand Central Madison are the 200s and 300s. So up here, I guess we have tracks from 11 down there, all the way to 42 at the end. And then downstairs from 102 to 114. Grand Central also has a little market, and downstairs there is the dining concourse. Look at these escalators. You go up and then back. Wait, 117? I thought it was 114. Whatever. Anyway, down here we have the dining concourse with some seating in the middle and restaurants on either side, and the tracks as well. Grand Central is also home to the famous Magnolia Bakery, which has like really good banana pudding. And actually there's one more thing I need to show you. Here it is. It's the New York Transit Museum store. So actually the main transit museum is at an abandoned station in Brooklyn near Hoyt-Schermerhorn Streets. But this is a sort of annex. It's called the Gallery Annex, and there's also a gift shop here too. So that's cool, isn't it? Now I'm going to visit the subway platforms, starting with, I think I'll start with the 4, 5, and 6. So there are a total of 5 subway lines that stop here at Grand Central Station, the 4, 5, 6, 7, and shuttle train to Times Square. Ooh, there's an oyster bar. But although there are 5 lines, there are only like 3 major sections, because the 4, 5, and 6 all share one set of platforms. So 4, 5, and 6. I like how the second you go through the doors to the subway, it becomes totally New York City subway style. Here's the main subway concourse, and here is where one of the 4, 5, and 6 platforms are, specifically the downtown direction. So although there are 2 platforms here, it's an island platform with 2 tracks, one on each side, they both go the same direction. That's because one is a local and one is an express. So the local track will stop more often, there will be more stops, and the express track will skip some of those stops. There is also the same system on the other island platform for the other direction. So that means that there are 4 tracks in total in this corridor. This is actually very common for the New York City subway. So from here I'm going to visit the shuttle platforms next, so up those stairs I go. So I'm back at the Concourse, but this time I'm going to walk this way. The MTA is actually in the process of renovating the entire Grand Central subway station, so that's why stuff may look a little messy. But the shuttle platforms already have been recently renovated, so those look pretty nice. Here is the shuttle train platform. As you can see, it's like ridiculously wide and actually really nice. So as the name suggests, the shuttle train just shuttles between Grand Central and Times Square every 4 or 5 minutes or so on a Sunday, but maybe more frequent on weekdays and rush hour especially. So the reason the platform is just so wide is that there actually used to be 4 tracks here. Track 1, 2, where I'm standing right now, 3, and then 4. But these were all filled in because they were not needed as this became a shuttle train instead of a normal subway line, which it used to be. The fact that this track, which should be like track 2, is actually called track 4 is kind of a giveaway of how this used to be. Okay, now for the last subway platforms, the 7 train platforms. So although the 7 and the 4, 5, 6 travel in perpendicular directions across Manhattan, the 4, 5, 6 up and down, and the 7 crosstown, the platforms are actually not exactly perpendicular. They're at an angle because the 4, 5, and 6 trains kind of switch avenue. It'll be clearer on a map. I love this artwork and the very minimalist 4, 5, 6, 7. So I think there are express escalators down from here. Oh, and spin around. Reminds me of the dining concourse escalators. Here's the 7 platform. It actually looks pretty cool, like with this sort of arched ceiling and the lights, and it's kind of curved as you saw me coming down the escalator. But now for the moment you've all been waiting for, the Grand Central Madison concourse, the new section. But the reason I came to the 7 train platforms last is because I think that the connection between the 7 and the Long Island Railroad concourse is the longest, and I wanted to time it. So I'm just going to assume that I have a train leaving on platform 204 on the Long Island Railroad concourse, and I'm going to time how long it takes to get from here to there. So we'll see how long that is. I think it's kind of ridiculous. So there you have it. It takes 7 minutes at least to get from platform 7 to track 204, or sort of all the tracks at the Long Island Railroad concourse. That is quite ridiculous, and that's like minimum because I walked on all the escalators, or minimum without running. But if you just stay still on all the escalators, it'll probably take you up to 10 minutes to get here, which is quite a long connection. Okay, but anyway, let me go back down because it is quite loud here. These trains are loud. But before that, I need to show you my favorite view in this whole thing. It's the tracks here, and then you just look down and you see more trains down there. That is ridiculously cool. I love that. Okay, but ignoring the slightly long connection time, I love like pretty much everything about this new concourse. It's really cool. I'm gonna try to go through all the different things I like about it, which I'm probably gonna miss some, but there is one thing I don't like, and I'll just get that out of the way. is that there is no seating. Like, there are no benches like anywhere. Like, that just makes people sit on the floor, and then when people sit on the floor, the police kind of kick them out, or they say to stand up. It's kind of weird. So I'm gonna try to go through the things that I most like about the station first, starting with just how well they made it match with Grand Central Terminal. I know that was a big point in the architecture of the station, but like, it looks very nice, like with the old terminal. It's like a more modern version of that. Like, the stone is brighter, there's more lights, but it still has the sort of arches, the text is the same font, the hallways feel similar, like it really fits in. Another thing I really love about the station is all the final touches they put to make it feel really special. Like all the artwork, like right here, just right behind me, there was this one here. Pretty much everywhere you can see some artwork. There are also these quotes on the wall by famous New Yorkers. I so agree with this. Like, this is one of the ones that rings true to me the most. Even though pretty much all the quotes that they picked are good, like all the ones that I've seen at least. And stuff as simple as, like, there's stuff you wouldn't even notice. For example, on the floor here, we're right under 46th Street. Every street has like a section like this, and it literally says 4, 6. Like, that's so cool. I feel like very few regular commuters have even noticed that, but the fact that they added that makes it just feel so special. Maybe there's another place in the world that's like this, but it's also the only place that I've seen that has like double-decker tracks like this, like full loading gauge trains, like mainline trains, and they're double-decker. It's just really cool as well. The views you can get of the trains are also amazing. Like, you can really see the trains. This glass is really nice. I don't know, it's just really cool. It's also very quiet in this like concourse area. I'm not on the tracks because the trains are very loud, so there's not much the station architecture can do about that. But up here, it's really nice. It's almost like a library setting. Look how fantastic these murals are. Barely any other places in the world would put so much effort into the art at their stations. I think this is fantastic. Like, look at it. Oh, there are some other places, but this is just special with the mural. I love the connection that New York City and transit has with like murals like this made out of little pieces of stone and glass. I think it adds so much. It's really cool to have a specific art style that encapsulates like transit. I don't know, it's so linked. Another thing that's great about the station is, of course, it's fully accessible with elevators like this one down and up to the platforms, and also elevators like the ones over there up to the Metro North, subway, and street level. There are these secret staircases at the end of the concourses that go up and down to the platforms. Another thing I love about the station is that the platforms are very wide. It's very clear what time it is, what track you're on, the area of the train, and what train it is and where it stops at. It's all top-notch. And there's a train that's pulling in. I also wonder how many escalators there are in this place. If I can find the exact number, I'll put it like here. But there are like banks of 4 and 5 escalators everywhere. Like, I'm gonna go back to the 5 one. I've never ever before seen a bank of 5 escalators right next to each other. This reminds me of the DC Metro. So that set of 5 escalators that I just came up brings me to my last and sort of main point about the station, which is that I think the station has been very well future-proofed to become an icon of the city for many years to come. It's been future-proofed in 2 main ways. 1, through amenities, and 2, through architecture. By amenities, I mean the extra space that they put, like right here, for future stores, and the extra space that they have for future potential ticket machines. And by architecturally, I mean that this wasn't just built. Like, it took 15 years or whatever, something like ridiculous, but they built it very, very well. It wasn't something cobbled together. It was something built with intent. It was something built with an idea in mind, and I think they executed it very well. And it's not one of those stations that will look back in 5 years and be like, oh, that looks outdated. Because it stays true to that classic Grand Central Terminal architecture, it's something that is very timeless and will last for a long time while still feeling very new and great, and hopefully well-maintained and clean. And just one last thing to close it all out, the finishing touches. Again, the art. Look at this mural. Like, this is such a unique mural, and that came with the station. It wasn't like built or commissioned afterward. Like this map here, which is a new map. I've never seen this before. It's very stylized. It has all the zones, but still it's very, very clear to read, and it's very useful. Even these pictures they have of its construction, like in sort of a gallery to show how cool it was. Like, even this ticket office is cool, and it's staffed, which is something that's really missing, but they put the effort. Essentially, what I'm trying to say is that this station was not built on a budget. No expense was spared to make this look as nice as possible. But I don't think that's a bad thing. I think that's what makes this station and a lot of New York projects really stand out and really unique. So, with all that said, thank you all for watching. I love sharing my thoughts with you, and I hope to see you in the next one. Bye!